Kash Patel's journey begins in Garden City, New York, to Indian-Gujarati parents who immigrated here after their own tough journey through Uganda and Canada. For me, his story is one of resilience, one that echoes those old Igbo proverbs, like, a man who brings kola brings life. His parents planted the seeds of opportunity, and Patel, through grit and determination, grew them into an incredible career.
Yeah, from there, he didn't just stumble into the FBI directorship, right? This guy worked the grind, starting as a public defender in Florida, boots-on-the-ground stuff, handling the cases no one else wanted.
And that legal experience sharpened his understanding of the system. You see, Duke, it's the kind of foundational work we don't often appreciate until someone rises to prominence. From there, he moved into counter-terrorism roles. He even helped draft the Nunes memo that ruffled quite a few feathers back in the day.
Ruffled feathers? Come on, man. Try shattered nerves. That memo blew the lid off some major debates around surveillance. Patel wasn't just sitting at some desk filing reports. He was in the heat of it, setting the narrative.
True. But what stood out to me is how his immigrant roots kept shining through. Every step of his career, every decision, seemed anchored in this drive to show what's possible in America, even amidst the kind of politics that could choke the air from many dreams. Reminds me of stories from my homeland, where adversity often builds the tallest leaders.
But let's not gloss over how controversial his journey's been. A slim 51-49 Senate vote. That ain't exactly a parade of bipartisan support. It's a battleground out there, and this guy walked right into the crossfire.
Exactly, Duke. And that razor-thin margin says everything about the times we live in. Politics has become a chessboard, and every pawn and knight placement matters. Patel had to thread the needle just to get his appointment through. It's illuminating, actually, how our system's cracks are emphasized when someone with bold, sometimes divisive ambitions steps forward.
Yeah, but credit where it's due. He made it through, barely, but still. Now he's in the top chair in one of the toughest law enforcement gigs on the planet. Says a lot about him keeping his focus.
It does. And his journey isn't just about him, though. It's symbolic. For millions of immigrants, there's inspiration here. But for him, the real challenge starts now. Navigating the politics, the public scrutiny, even his own FBI. This is where the currents get choppy. And speaking of challenges, Duke, we can't ignore perhaps the most polarizing aspect of Kash Patel's career, his close ties to Donald Trump. Those connections have sparked intense scrutiny and cast a shadow over his tenure as FBI director. It's like when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. In this case, the credibility of law enforcement itself could be what's at stake.
True. You've got political allegiances mixing with operational decisions. That's a recipe for disaster, Emeka. The FBI's got to stay above the fray, man, or it risks losing trust. And trust is the gold standard in this business.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about loyalty. It's also about optics. His actions, fair or not, will constantly be measured against the backdrop of his Trump connection. Perception here, Duke, is almost as critical as performance.
Exactly. And speaking of perception, let's not ignore his foreign investments. Shane, a Chinese company? Seriously? That's got red flag written all over it in bold letters. Makes you wonder about the judgment calls, right?
A valid point. These investments open a Pandora's box of potential conflicts of interest. The public's already questioning his impartiality. Add national security into the mix and, well, let's just say the heat's not cooling anytime soon.
Right. It's like running a mission with compromised intel. You can't afford to have even a whiff of divided loyalty. And let me tell you, Emeka, back in my Army days, the chain of command came down like a hammer when things didn't add up.
And it should, Duke. Transparency isn't a luxury in governance. It's a necessity. But here's the catch. How does one maintain loyalty to their ideals, their country, amidst this constant whirlwind of scrutiny?
That's the million-dollar question, huh? It's about discipline. Keep your mission clear, your values tighter. You step outside the lines, you're done. No excuses, no exceptions.
But discipline alone won't save you, Duke. Navigating these waters with the political tides pulling every which way requires something more. A mix of strategy, humility, and maybe even a bit of luck.
Luck's not a plan, Amika. Strategy, sure. Accountability, too. And Patel's got to prove he's anchored to the Constitution, not to any one man or political party.
True. And that, Duke, might just be his greatest test yet. Not only to lead, but to redefine what it means to lead without compromise in these fractious times.